Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
Hello, and thanks for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today. Today, we continue the series on my book, Blue Collar Leadership and Teamwork, 30 Traits of High-Impact Players. We're on trait 24 of 30. Today's trait is be motivational. Be motivational. The subtitle of this trait, motivation leads to inspiration. Motivation leads to inspiration. So I want to open with a quote today from Alan Weiss. He says, "Logic helps people think, but emotion urges them to act." Logic helps people think, but emotion urges them to act. So think about yourself. You rather hang out with a team that's motivating you or a team that's pulling you down? A lot of times it only takes one bad apple on the team. If you like most folks, you've probably been on one of those teams before. You may be on one of those teams now. They may be more than one bad apple. They may be full of bad apples. You may be the shining light on the team. There's all kind of teams out there. All different makeups. Some teams have all the people are motivational. Some teams, none of the people are motivational. But we're talking about high-impact team players. If you want to be a high-impact team player, you need to be motivational. Soon as you learn and become a motivational team player, you're going to have a lot of influence. That means you're going to be a high-impact leader. High-impact leaders are motivational. They know how to lift the team. They like to pump people up. They like to charge somebody's battery. But motivation leads to inspiration. Low-impact players tend to manipulate their teammates for their own benefit. Manipulation is influencing teammates to act for your own personal gain. Manipulation creates distrust among the team. Manipulation destroys relationships. Manipulation stimulates the wrong emotions within your teammates. You don't want to be a manipulator. You want to be a motivator. And it's a choice. But to motivate other people, it can't be about you. It's got to start with you, but it ain't about you. People who are trying to manipulate others, it's all about them. Even if they're putting on a good act, everybody can see through it. Everybody knows. No manipulator is ever going to be a high-impact team player. Nobody who's focused on only themselves. Where I win, you lose. If I'm focused on me winning, and I don't care if you win or lose, I'm a low-impact team player. High-impact players motivate their teammates by seeking mutual benefit. That's the key difference. Low-impact players, they're manipulating for their own benefit. High-impact players are motivating and seeking mutual benefit. Yeah, I want to win, but I also want you to win. And you know it. Not because I tell you, but because you can feel it. I do this podcast because I'm trying to help you win. I may not have ever even met you. I may have not ever spoken with you. I may not have ever interacted with you in any kind of way on social media. I may not even know you exist on the planet. But I'm doing this podcast to help you win. Or I may have known you for a long time, for a lot of years. I may have spoken to you many times, in person or on the phone, or both. And I'm still doing this podcast to help you win. Because I don't have to do it. It takes a lot of my time to do it. Today I'm doing it on a Saturday morning. I'm sure a lot of other people, some of the people who are listening when this is released, which is not live, it'll release later, but a lot of people who listen on Saturday mornings, they ain't interested in recording a podcast for somebody else's benefit. But see, there's mutual benefit. If I help you win, especially if you reach out to me and let me know you like the podcast or something I've shared has helped you in some way, that's ROI for me. That's return on my investment. I'm investing my time. I'm trying to be motivational. You know, some podcasts, I tell people, every podcast is not for everybody, but every podcast is for somebody. You may not like this one, but you like the last one. You may not like the last 4, but you like one 100 episodes ago. I don't know. Everybody's different. I'm teaching and sharing stuff. Every single thing I share, though, can be applied by everybody. But some people maybe are not interested in certain things that I share. Everything can be applied by everybody. But motivation is influencing teammates to act in a way that allows everyone to win. Everyone feels it. Imagine if you're on a team where everybody's trying to help everybody win and no one is focused on me all the time. I mean, there's some whining, pathetic people out there. I hope you're not on their team, but odds are you may have some on your team. You got to shine bright in spite of those people. You got to try to help them win while they're trying to help you lose. That's just what we do. We don't join them. We got to try to lift them up. Motivation builds trust among your team. Motivation strengthens your relationships. Motivation stimulates the right emotions within your teammates. So think about that scenario I've been asking you on every episode. You can pick between 2 people. All I'm going to tell you about these 2 people, you don't know nothing about them, but one of them is a manipulator. One of them is a motivator. Which one you want on your team? I ask really easy questions, don't I? You're going to want the motivator. You don't want someone that's going to be trying to manipulate you. And so I could ask you the same question. You know, I'm talking about your teammates, somebody at a level same as you, but I could say your boss. You get to pick your boss. All you know about the boss, one of them is a motivator, one of them is a manipulator. You're going to want the motivator. I could ask your boss. I could say, hey boss, I'm the HR person. I could say, hey boss, I'm sending you a person put on your team. I got two options. One's a motivator, one's a manipulator. Which one you want to add on your team? Every boss is going to say the motivator. Who wants the manipulator on their team? See, again, I ask you these questions because I just want to slow you down, let you look out the window. So then I can ask you, which one are you? So you can look in the mirror. You can do this about any single principle there is out there, and it makes it crystal clear which principle, which trait matters the most if you want to be a high impact player, if you want to be a high impact leader. But most people don't slow down and even think about it. Because a lot of times they're really thinking about me. So they're doing things that are going to benefit me. You know, it don't even cross their mind they're manipulating somebody. Because they're thinking about me, not we. Motivation requires an external source. Something outside of you causes you to act. When you take action to help your team win because an external source has influenced you, you have been motivated. When you take action to help your team win without motivation, without external motivation, that means you are inspired from within. See, if you listen to this podcast and you actually literally go and intentionally try to become more motivational, that's because of my external motivation. I've motivated you to do that. But if you've made it a habit, either previously or sometime in the future, where it's got nothing to do with me, or you've already been doing this and you ain't never even heard of me before, and it's the first time you listen to my podcast, and you say, "Well, I am a motivational person. I seek mutual benefit. I try to help people on my team win." That means you're inspired from within. We're going to talk about that next episode. The next trait is be inspirational. But today we're talking about being motivational. But motivation leads to inspiration. People can motivate you, which leads to inspiration within you. You can motivate others, which causes them to become inspired. High impact players are able to motivate others because they have experienced being motivated by others. Motivation causes teammates to act when you're in their presence because of your presence, meaning you're a motivational force. That's what high impact team players are. And I love being on a team with these kind of folks. They come in with a good attitude, they fired up, they got energy, and pretty much most of the time that's me. I'm doing that, but it doesn't mean I'm the only one that can do it. If there are 10 people on the team, there could be 10 people who walk in fired up, happy, motivated, smiling, full of energy to go make something happen, high-fiving everybody, being a team player, synergizing with others, coming up with ideas, giving others credit, helping others out. Anybody can do that. The best teams, everybody does it. The worst teams, nobody does it. It's a choice. Yeah, I saw just recently, I saw a video, I think it was on YouTube or something, and it caught my eye because it pretty phenomenal, I thought. The title, 50 years of service at McDonald's. And I thought, my goodness, how somebody work at McDonald's for 50 years? I was like, I got to watch that. I want to see who that person is. And actually, they're in Athens, Georgia. And so I watched it's about an 8-minute YouTube clip. It was actually off some news channel, some local news channel in the somewhere in Georgia was doing a segment on the lady. I forget her name now, but that lady, she was fired up. She was motivational. It showed her working in there, and she works at McDonald's. A lot of people would look at McDonald's and think, that's a low end job. That's somewhere to start when you don't have options or whatever. This lady's been there 50 years. She's happy as she can be. And you know what? I think that's exactly where she was meant to be. Her team has been given a gift. 50 years. She knows that job inside and out. And she don't just go in there and moan and groan and whine. She is a cheerleader. She's a motivator. She inspires people. And they had given her a parking spot. 50 years of service. They put up a sign in the parking lot. And the guy that owns that McDonald's said she can park there as long as she lives. She's going to have that sign out there because she's made a contribution to that team. And, you hear me talk a lot about Chick-fil-A. And when that video was recording this lady at work, that particular McDonald's, the environment, the people in there, her interaction with the other team members, her interaction with the people who were eating there, it was just like what I see at Chick-fil-A. I mean, she knew those people. She had relationships with those people. She just didn't go to work there. She went to be there. And she's a high impact team player. There ain't no doubt about it. Motivation causes teammates to act when you're in their presence because of your presence. She's a great example of that. mean, that's the line I read that just reminded me of that YouTube video. You probably find it. Go out and do a search, Google search or YouTube search, 50 years of service at McDonald's or something like that, and you can probably look it up. I mean, it'll motivate you just watching her. I mean, it was a great little, I think 7 or 8 minute video clip. They did her some justice, and she's full of energy like she's 30 years old. And I think she was 67, 68 years old. She ain't in no hurry to slow down. I mean, she's running around coordinating everything. And I believe she used to be the general manager. And she recently stepped back to just, being one of the team members. She says she likes that. I mean, it's pretty powerful. Anyway, that was just something that resonated with me to share with you right here. And you can enhance this podcast episode about being motivational by looking up that video and finding that video and checking it out. Anyway, those who manipulate others will demoralize them. I would probably say you've been demoralized by a team member before. If you haven't, you're one of the very few on the planet. But most of us have. There's a good chance somebody on your team right now demoralizes you when you walk in the door and see them. That's life. But that ain't life of a high-impact player. Not demoralizing others. Others may demoralize you. But if you're truly a high-impact team player, you're going to figure out how to deal with that in a positive way, and you're going to get that out of your life. You're either going to grow and develop those people, or you're going to grow and develop others around you. But either way, you're going to move forward. So those who motivate others are likely to inspire them. And that's what next week's episode is going to be about. Trait 25 is actually be inspirational. But we'll talk about that next time. Today I want to leave you with a quote from Paul Akers. I mentioned him previously. He wrote that book, 2 Second Lean, and highly recommend you to read that book, whether you're a leader of lean, whether you're a formal authority leader, or whether you're just someone who wants to do a better job, make your life easier, develop some new skills, stand out in the crowd, whatever you want to call it. You may want to check that book out, 2 Second Lean by Paul Akers. Got some great ideas, great tips in there. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with a quote from him. He says, lead and people will follow. Point and people will run. And obviously what we want to do, we want to be high impact leaders that are worth following. And if we become high impact team players, we're going to automatically become high impact team leaders or leaders of an entire organization. But the key is to be a high impact individual. Then you want to become a high impact team player. Then you want to become a high impact leader. Again, Paul Akers' words, leading people will follow, pointing people will run. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Be motivational. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.